What is a typical profile of a consultant at McKinsey? This is a question that I quite frequently get, and most answers I see and hear about these questions are based on experiences, based on gut feelings. But I recently came across some pretty interesting data on exactly this topic, and in this video I want to show you exactly this data. So welcome to another coffee break here on my channel Firm Learning. My name is Heinrich, I'm a former McKinsey consultant, and on my channel I try to help you to become successful in the first years of your career. So let's jointly have a look at the data, and even though the data is public, I trust that most of you will not have seen these numbers in this way. But before we jump into it, let me quickly introduce you to the sponsor of this video, DataCamp. DataCamp is an online learning platform where you can improve your data analysis skills. And you know that this is something I talk about all the time. This is really a crucial part of your skill set if you want to succeed in any consulting role, and I trust in many roles in industry and for sure in banking as well. With DataCamp, there are no previous data skills needed to get started. You can learn from things as basic as Excel 101 to more advanced technical things like, for instance, database manipulation in SQL. So for sure, if the things that I show you here in this video are over your head, you really have no idea what this is all about, there are some also very introductory courses on Excel and DataCamp which I trust can help you. They have over 300 courses with interactive learning, and you can also learn on the go with the mobile app that they have. Personally, I very much liked the Introduction to SQL course, which already helped me several times on my own projects when I needed to interact with databases. So give it a try, and I trust that working with DataCamp indeed can fast track your data analysis skills, and these for sure are so crucial in any consulting role, but also many other related roles as well. So if this piqued your interest and you would like to try out DataCamp, then invest in yourself. Check out DataCamp via the link in the video description, and you will get access to the first chapter of every single course for free. But now, without further ado, let's dive into the data, and what I want to show you here indeed is data on LinkedIn. And you find what I will now show you on the LinkedIn page of McKinsey. And of course, this is an analysis that you can do for every other employer, every other company out there as well. And specifically where you need to go is on the LinkedIn page to the People tab to get access to this type of statistic. And as you can see here, there are 34,000 employers tracked at McKinsey here in the system. And here you do have access to some pretty interesting statistics. And I must say I was quite impressed what I was able to get out of this, and also the type of analysis that you can actually run with this data. So what you see here for the beginning is just a basic understanding of where the people live that work at McKinsey. And I think this alone is quite insightful, because here you can see what the biggest markets for such a company are. And clearly based on that, here you see the US is very large, and note that here there are also some additional areas which clearly belong to the US, for instance, Greater Boston area, Greater Chicago area. Second is Germany, then United Kingdom, here with London, and then India. And all the rest, a little notable mention is Brazil, and then also the UAE and France. All the other countries are quite small, right? So this clearly shows you that the largest markets are the US, are Germany, and are the UK. And then of course with countries like India, you need to be aware that several companies also have support functions there. So this does not necessarily mean that in terms of consultants, these are always the largest regions. Though of course India is a region for consulting services as well. Though what is the implication of this? Well, if you are looking for a job at a firm like McKinsey, this clearly tells you that the US, Germany, and the UK probably the most open positions to fill. Of course, there will likely also be more competition for these positions than in other countries, especially for the US and for the UK. But what this also shows is that probably Germany, while this certainly is a large country with lots of local applicants as well, probably Germany offers quite a lot of great opportunities for people applying, because apparently this is a very, very large market for the consulting firm, and there are significantly fewer people speaking German than speaking English and would apply to the US or the UK. And indeed, it is very well known that, for instance, the consulting positions in the London office are very, very competitive, probably much more competitive than the positions in many of the other countries, just because so many people want to work there. Next are the universities. What you see here is that these private target universities definitely do play an important role of of getting into an MBB firm like McKinsey, BCG and Bain. So if you go over this, INSEAD is the graduate level business school where I also have my MBA from. Harvard Business School, I trust, needs no introduction. London School of Economics and Political Science is often also called LSE. This is where I have my master from. And then many of these other schools you will recognize yourself. A notable mention here is the Technical University of Munich. This is a public university, so it's not a private university, so you can literally study here, at least as a German, with no student fees at all. And you can see that still universities like this are highly ranked and very, very competitive to get into a firm like McKinsey. Let's look into some more statistics. And here I'm especially interested into what these people study, because this indeed is also a question that I very frequently get. And this is, what major should you choose if you want to apply to a firm like McKinsey? And what you can clearly see here is that business type of majors such as business administration, management, economics, finance, these are very competitive, very relevant majors if you want to apply to a firm like McKinsey. And indeed, and this is true also very much from my experience, then the second most often are technical MINT type of subjects. Here, for instance, mechanical engineering, computer science, electrical engineering. And here, at least from my subjective perception, I would have believed that this share of MINT type of degrees is even higher for the consultants at MBB, though maybe I guess the numbers here just prove me wrong. Though that being said, you can also see that political science and government, or maybe also here international global studies, so more liberal arts, humanities types of programs, do have a sizable portion of the people working at McKinsey as well. So you clearly can get in with these maybe more niche profiles too, even though these other ones are probably the more straightforward ones. So for those subject programs, you really have a very specific profile, do the right internships, really tailor your profile more towards consulting to then be able to make the cut. So while this already might be insightful, LinkedIn offers you even additional, even more insightful analysis options. And what you can do indeed is now really drill down and double click into individual feeds like this. So let's imagine that you would be interested to understand what the best business universities in your country are to get into McKinsey. And here for that, you would first need to click here on business, now just to choose the largest business category. And now you would click here on Germany. And now you would see here, because it's now filtered for business and for Germany, what the largest, most successful universities in Germany are in terms of placement for business study programs. And here you can see number one, not surprisingly, the University of Mannheim. Second, WHU. This is a private business university. RWTH Aachen is, I must say, quite surprising in my opinion for a business university. This is very well renowned for technical subjects. From my perspective, it wasn't that renowned for business subjects, but I guess here again the data might prove me just wrong as well. Technical University of Munich, so you see all these names here. Ludwig-Maximilians Universität Munich. This is where I studied, where I did my undergraduate degree. So I think this might be quite interesting, quite insightful if you are now selecting your university as well, if you want to get into McKinsey. Though also be aware that maybe not everyone here is working in a consulting role. So probably here those guys from this university, those are rather profiles that more likely will work in back office role than in consulting role. But let me also show a second application of that. So let's imagine you are living in France and would like to know what the best universities in France are to get into McKinsey. Then you just click on France, now it's filtered by France, and now you see here indeed all the key feeders of the French schools into McKinsey. And here it's the HEC Paris, it's INSEAD, this school that frankly I've never heard of, ESSEC Business School, ESCP, Sciences Po, and so on. So I trust this gives an overview as well. And similar to that, you can also look into India, for instance. And here you also see now all the Indian universities, or rather the universities that feed into Indian McKinsey office. And here, interestingly enough, because this is also a question that I frequently get, is you do not need to study abroad, for instance. If you're living in India, to get into the Indian McKinsey office, it is very well possible to just study at a local university, because as you can see here, all the top universities are local Indian ones indeed. So I very much encourage you to just play around with this yourself to get exactly the insight out of it that you want to have for your profile, for your CV, and potentially for your career choices. But now I'd love to hear from you. Did you already know about this information source on LinkedIn? Did you already look up other employers like this? Let me know what your favorite functionalities of this are. And as always, if you took any value out of this video at all, please destroy the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and of course also subscribe to this channel to stay up to date on all my content. I'm also active on other platforms such as Instagram, Twitch or TikTok. You can find me under my handle Firm Learning. I also want to thank the sponsor of this video, DataCamp. Check the link in the video description to DataCamp to get access to the first chapter of every course for free. And a big thanks of course also to the members of Firm Learning. You're really making a difference. Thank you so much for that. My name is Heinrich. I release new videos every single Saturday, so see you soon again next week. Until then, bye bye.